Hello everyone, this is Zibo and welcome to this Revive Witch video. So one of the most commonly asked questions on my reroll hell stream is that what are the units to look out for, whether or not my current pool of hero is good, whether or not my current team is good. And in today's video, we're going to run through the team building 101 within Revive Witch so that you guys can have a better understanding of how to properly set up your team, as well as have an easier time to clear through the story mode, which is one of the key aspects of Revive Witch. And without further ado, let us begin today's video. So on screen right now is my completed water team. It took me some time to reroll as well as try my best to get the units, and I'm going to use this team to explain the team building mechanics. So let us start with the homepage itself. First of all, on the top left hand side, there's actually a team buff. So this team buff is actually regarding to the element of your units. So there's three main type: the mercury, swordstone, as well as brimstone elements. So we call them water, light, as well as fire. Okay, so this is for easier identification sake. So if you manage to get your deployed dolls, which is these three dolls over here with the same element, like myself, right? I have the mercury element, you get plus 10% stats. And if you have the sufficient hero pool to build a full 6 mercury element unit, you can get a plus 15% stat to your attack and defense. So over here, the witch, which is your main character, is an omni element. So over here, they mentioned that which element is all match. So I have a witch over here and I have two other water characters for the 15% buff. So over here, we have the water mage team. And usually, right, how this deployed door as well as backup door works is that if the first unit die, the first unit on the right hand side will replace her. And if the last unit die, the witch will replace her, and so on and so forth. So this is how the deployed door as well as the backup door work hand in hand. In terms of the elemental advantage, there isn't really like mercury is better than brimstone or brimstone is better than swordstone kind of thing. So do not have to worry too much about the advantages, because the appearance or the elements are just there for the deployment effect. So just build your team around the elements of the units and you have a heavily buffed team in terms of team stats. And in terms of who you want to deploy or who you want to use in the different positions, the first slot usually should be your tankiest hero. So your guardian character, some destroyer character, or in general units with the ability to soak up damage, units with the ability to take up a lot of damage on themselves, to redirect damage on themselves, or even units with the high HP stats are all really good on the front line. So over here, Guardian is obviously the best class in my honest opinion, and the best unit for this role are a Fallen as well as Celadonia. So a Fallen is more towards the mage build. So if you look at a Fallen skill, she has a heal as well, or rather she has a shield, 28% of her max health, and a redirecting of all damage to herself. At the same time, she also increases her own physical defense as well as magical defense. There's also a 2-second immunity, which is super helpful if you time it well within boss fights. And her chaos ability is Holy Radiance, which deals magical damage, applies a debuff, as well as reduce magical defense. So in total, right, she's the guardian or the best guardian in terms of the mage build. So if you are thinking of building a physical team, right, if you have your assassins as well as your destroyer, then the better tank for the physical damage build is definitely Celadona, because Celadona applies a physical defense debuff, so it's super duper useful for physical team, and a Fallen is the better one for magical team. So these two are the top tier guardians right now, and you guys should probably build your team around them. And in terms of my other manlers, right, I have this unit, Mayahui. So Mayahui applies damage, right? She applies quite a bit of damage, AoE damage. She applies attack to all enemies, and she also applies a magical debuff up to a total of 50%. So you guys can see the synergy over here. And Cerny over here is actually a damage dealer as well as increases magical damage taken by enemies. So we have magical defense debuff, we have an increase in magical damage taken by enemies, and lastly we have a healing for the team. So overall, this team has quite a bit of sustain, and this allows me to clear through the story mode on auto really easily. So far I've been cruising through the story mode, and I believe this team is going to carry me through the end. So in terms of the fire team, you can also build the physical damage fire team. So the best team for that will probably be Celadonia, Akasha together with one fire healer or debuffer. So that will make a pretty complete team, and then you just slot in the other 3 units consisting of fire units to get the 15% team buff. And with regards to the light team, we have a pretty good roster as well. We have Ella as the frontliner, we have Tonel as one of the best healer, and then you just slot in 1 damage for the light units. So in general, all these 3 elements have their own sets of good units, and you guys can build the team based on, you know, all the different units you have in the pool. So in terms of the first 100 rerolls, people will always ask you to go for a Fallen plus 1 of these Water SSR Mage. So the reason is pretty straightforward, because in your first 100 rerolls, you'll only be able to get the maximum of 1 UR as well as 1 SSR. So that's why this will be the most optimal pair to complete your full water team, or at least the deployed team of 3. And for the fire team, you have Celadona and Akasha, yes. But when you do your first 100 rolls, you'll probably want to go for Celadona first, together with 1 fire damage dealer or fire healer or whatever to back her up, and then eventually roll for Akasha to complete your fire team. However, if you don't want Akasha in the future, there will be better fire units, so you can skip Akasha and go for the better fire units. But Akasha will be a really good unit, so Celadona plus Akasha will make a super solid fire team. And for the light team, you have Tonel when you roll for the 100 rolls. So go for Tonel and 1 damage dealer, because you can actually get Ella, which is a super duper good frontliner, a destroyer character over here, when you purchase packs within the game. So if you go to the gifts over here, when you do the battle pass, you'll be able to get Ella the Dragonless. So over here, let me see whether or not I can see their stats. Okay, so Ella is a light character. She's a destroyer. And if you look at her stats, right, her HP stats is okay. Her defensive stat is okay as well. She's able to deal damage and reduce physical defense. And she's also able to recover HP. So she makes a decent frontliner, and you can build a light physical team around her. So in terms of team building, you have quite a few options, but if you ask me, the better ones will be the Water Mage team, the Light Physical Damage team, as well as the Fire Physical Damage team, because most of the UR and SSR combos are favored towards those archetypes. Now, within the character formation itself, there's a lot of things to upgrade for the characters, so I'll cover all these different attributes of the characters in another video, so stay tuned for that. But when you first develop your team, do focus your resources on your deployed team, because the backup dolls will only come into play if your deployed dolls have fallen. However, if your deployed dolls are really solid, they probably won't die, so the backup dolls are really just there as backup. They won't really appear in battle. So focus your resources on these 3 units first. As you progress through the game, when you get more resources, then try to split your resources across the different units. So over here, you guys can see I already ascended my main team by 1, and I'm trying to slowly upgrade them. So that's one thing that I plan to do as I continue to play the game, and I'll definitely pump up more guides. And lastly, to end off this video, for those of you guys who are still not sure how to reroll without deleting the game, you simply do your standard stuff, you know, do your story 1 to 4, and then start your reroll. And once you're done with your reroll, and if you're contented, you can buy this account to an actual account. If you're not contented, buy it to a Yostar account with a temporary email, and then log out of the game, and then start the game again as a guest account. So there you have it. That's a reroll procedure, super duper easy. And after you are done with team building, then you can begin brushing through the story really easily. And hopefully this guide is helpful for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more Revive Witch content from this channel. And I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!